Yeah. Wake up with coffee and sports. Sunrise glow, listen coast to coast. A flow like you know.
Offensively, who made them? Oh, Patrick Mahomes.
Sideline to sideline with plays to show. This network's got the spark.
When you put up 300 yards rushing against someone, that you got your butt whooped.
I feel like I would have liked to see Oregon, Ohio State in the semis, not the quarters. So I think some reseeding is probably where I would change. But
they're out of their mind. They're going to do this 3 quarterbacks in a row.
Here's the crazy.
I just can't take it.
First deep flying high, fans cheering loud, and one podcast moving through the crowd. Meaty Boyz brawling, no holds barred loud. This wire life never in doubt. Tune into the vibe.
That's my bold prediction for the show. Devin Booker in the next 3 years, he will be a Houston Rocket.
Because I still think Seth is still at the top of his game. I do. I think he's right there. Who knows? Maybe. Not this year, but one time soon. Why wouldn't we potentially see Seth and Roman? You know what I mean?
Tune in the vibe.
Guard on the mic tonight. News coming in left and right. More better with the latest fight. Gene's got that insight tight. Champions rise and they fall. Wire to wire, got it all. Every move and every brawl. Tune in for the curtain call. Wrestling talk all night long. Catch the latest match and song. Ring the bell, let's get it on. Every story bright and strong. In the ring they clash and roar. New rivalries and so much more. Titles change and legends lore.
Hey, what's poppin', y'all? It is your boy, Guard E3, and welcome to everybody on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and we are also streaming live on TikTok. So I hope y'all are enjoying your day today. What's up, Key? It's great to see you in already.
What's up, Key?
And of course, joining me today, I call him the greatest co-host of all time, and I am not going to lie to you, he absolutely is. So, of course, joining me at this time, he is Mo Better. How you doing, Mo?
Hey, what's good, man? What's good, everybody that's joining us? Key, appreciate you stepping in. Hey, it's Tuesday, so you know what we're doing. We're talking wrestling. Let's get into it.
No, absolutely. And you know, the first thing I wanted to do tonight is I wanted to give a company their flowers real quick. There's a lot to talk on the WWE side of things, but I would think I'd be remiss if I didn't give AEW their credit. They announced a show in Mexico, and they have already sold out the building without even announcing a match yet. So I think at the end of the day, the more companies that are thriving in the wrestling business, the better. So I just wanted to congratulate AEW on that achievement, and I'm looking forward to seeing the show when it happens.
I don't watch AEW as frequently as you do, but I am really excited because at some point we will see Tony Storm versus Mercedes. That's what I want to see. I think that's going to be a fantastic match.
Oh, absolutely. But you know, we'll talk a lot of WWE today. Not going to lie. And why don't we just start off with the main event of Backlash, Mo? Because I think that I want to help some people who might be seeing a John Cena Randy Orton match for the first time. If you've never seen one, I want to kind of steer what to expect. So our boy John Cena has promised to ruin professional wrestling, just like Doc Rivers has promised to ruin Bucks basketball, but one succeeded, and John Cena is actually very entertaining. So anyway, John Cena and Randy Orton are about to have a match for the world title at Backlash. Mo, of course, I'm curious on like what your thoughts on the match are going to be, but I wanted to throw this out there right away. If you are expecting a 5-star classic between John Cena and Randy Orton or any like technical greatness, I wouldn't. Those two in their primes didn't really have all that great of matches. But if you're in it for the nostalgia, the memories, the moments, I think they'll create plenty of those. But warning, don't watch this match if you're expecting like a 5-star technical masterpiece because you're going to be disappointed. But it will be a fun match. Mo, what do you think about Cena versus Orton at Backlash next week?
I think you hit it on the head. It's going to be an entertaining match, but if you're looking for a technical 5-star masterclass of wrestling, that's not what you're going to see. They're both older, a little bit past their primes, but they're both in terrific shape. And what I think you're going to see is you're going to see more of a brawl, more of a high impact match in terms of like more big moves, but not a lot of technical wrestling. And obviously, there's another aspect that I'm sure we'll see. There's going to be a run-in. All right. There's going to, obviously, with the new forming of the faction with Rollins. And I just feel like they're going to do that to send a message. It's not even like they're helping John Cena out one way or another. That wouldn't surprise me. But I do think it's going to be an entertaining match. Anybody that's going to tune in for Backlash, I don't think you're going to be disappointed with the match itself. But you hit it on the head. You should be there because these are two of the greats. You should be there because this will probably be the last time you see these two in the ring versus each other. You should be there and have high expectations in terms of being entertained, but you should have tame expectations if you think you're going to see a 5-star technical wrestling match.
Yeah, absolutely. And their segment together on Raw was already highly entertaining. Like, of course, Randy Orton's always got to hit that RKO out of nowhere. John Cena making sure to drop a little swear word right before getting RKO'd. Like, that whole segment was just absolutely terrific. And I am excited for it. I'm excited. Perfect spot for it. Backlash. And listen, I think that they should book it with a callback. I think they should absolutely tease John Cena ruining the match. How do you do that? A little stroll down history lane. John Cena and Randy Orton once had a match where Randy Orton slapped the ref to get himself disqualified so he wouldn't have to wrestle John Cena. Mo, what would you think if they started out the match like that? John Cena slaps the ref, gets himself disqualified, then we have Adam Pearce come out and make it like a no DQ match. Because I think in order to maximize this match, you got to put a stipulation on it.
I think that's a brilliant idea. It also elevates the Cena heel turn, right? That this is heel Cena. So now, like you said, Cena, maybe they get into it for a couple of minutes and Cena goes, I don't think I want it tonight. And he just pops the ref, getting disqualified. And you're right. I can see it playing out exactly that way. Pierce comes out and goes, how about this? We'll just make it a no DQ and go that route. Thinking, by the way, by making it a no DQ, it favors Orton. Look, if you're a wrestling fan, if you love wrestling, I always go with this. Whenever you go no DQ, more times than not, it favors the heel.
And John Cena's just always kind of a douche in no DQ matches. If you think John Cena has always been that, I think one of the things that makes Cena's interesting, like the reason his character has stayed interesting for so long, is him showing heelish tendencies in these matches, and we know he can be brutal. This is the guy who wrestled Batista in an I Quit match. Batista quit, and John Cena just attitude adjusted him off the top of a car anyway. He has a mean streak. So, yeah, I agree. If this thing goes to a no disqualification match, it'd be tough to knock off Cena because he does have a violent side, and we've seen that time and time again.
Yeah, look, I agree. It would be interesting if we had a heel Randy Orton, but then you would have to have a face Cena. So, like I said, I think it's going to be entertaining. I like the build-up. I love the chemistry between the two. Randy Orton obviously isn't as good on the mic as John Cena is, and John Cena knows that. So he comes at him, but he comes at him in a tapered way because John Cena could really get on the mic and vaporize anybody. He does just enough to where Randy can respond. That's good teamwork and that's good chemistry.
So ESPN did this thing where they projected John Cena's final matches in WWE, Mo. And I want you to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if this would actually excite you. So we already went John Cena versus Randy Orton at Backlash. That's happening.
That's a thumbs up for me.
Jey Uso versus John Cena at Money in the Bank for the World Heavyweight title.
I think that's thumbs down. I don't think that's a good match. I don't like their skill sets. Jey doesn't really have a whole lot of technical skills. He only has really 3 high-impact moves. I don't like that combination.
See, what's up, Carmike? I see you over on TikTok. Thank you, sir.
And just for the record, come on. We both love Jey Uso, but he's not going to have a long title reign.
Yeah, and I don't think their skill sets mesh well, like, at all. So that's a thumbs down for me. This one, I think we can both agree is a thumbs up. John Cena versus CM Punk at Saturday night's main event in July.
100% thumbs up. I would love to see that.
Yeah. This next one, Mo, is a thumbs. To me, this is like a thumbs down. There's one reason, and I'm sure you'll figure out the reason real quick. Cody Rhodes and Bad Bunny versus John Cena and Travis Scott.
Yeah, it's a horrible thing and a horrible idea, and it's a thumb down because I don't want to see Bad Bunny and Travis Scott in the ring. I don't need that.
See, I'll take, like, it's funny because Bad Bunny, like, has shown he at least can have good matches. I think I'm just so scarred from, Fiend showing up listening to Fiend at WrestleMania that, like, I really don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, look, get somebody to replace Travis Scott. Maybe you got a better match, but I'm a thumbs down right now.
No, absolutely. Say, Carmike wants that Jade versus Bianca match. Yeah, you know what? Fair enough. I want that too.
I think we all do. I don't think you're going to see it anytime soon, though.
Say, this next one's interesting, and I think this would be actually a lot of fun. John Cena versus Joe Hendry at TNA Victory Road. I don't think it happened.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'll say I don't think it would happen at a TNA show, but also I think that'd be fun if they actually did do it at a TNA show.
I don't think it's going to happen either, but I would be a thumbs up if the match happened. Look, I don't know about you, and I've seen him wrestle a number of times. You have to admit, as corny as that theme song is, it's so catchy.
It is.
It's insanely catchy, man. You be sitting there going, "This is corny," and the next thing you know, you're singing along.
Hey, I was singing along with it all at WrestleMania, and then
he's actually a talented wrestler, right? You know what I mean? Like, I think that would be an interesting matchup.
Oh, absolutely. And then, of course, the last 2 matches they have, these are actually interesting. I think both of these will be a thumbs up. John Cena versus Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel in November.
I would be a thumbs up for that.
And then his final match, Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. And the kicker is, at this point, they still have John Cena having the title. And John Cena being on the last date of his appearances here. So it'll literally be Cody wins or John Cena walks away with the title. So honestly, I think that would be a perfect way to run it. Just run heel John Cena all the way till the end. I don't think it happens, but that would honestly be terrific.
Yeah. And look, in the history of wrestling, the way it goes usually when the guy's leaving or retiring, he usually gives up the belt, right? They very rarely get to walk away the champion, but we'll see. It makes for an intriguing story if it happens.
Yeah, I even think if Cena loses in his last match, like just having him stay heel and just running like all the way to the end, like to make that last match, like, hey, somebody really has to be John, otherwise he's leaving with this title.
Right.
Like, I think that's the way to go. I just hope that they actually continue to pull the trigger on it. And I let him stay heel till the end.
Right. And I think that's what he's going with, right? Because he keeps pointing out, I'm letting you know, he showed the dates and the amount of appearances he has left. John Cena really does plan on walking away with the belt. So it does feel like there's kind of a timer somebody's got to beat him, or this guy's going to take the belt and walk away with it, right? So that, to me, that in itself is a story.
Say they have been turning up. They've been turning up Seth Rollins lately, and his gear is questionable. Listen, I think Seth Rollins will be a champion, but I think he's going to be the guy to dethrone Jey Uso. I think that just makes all the sense in the world, honestly.
100%. Look, and I love Jey, and I think that Jey Uso he's established himself as a superstar, and he's established himself as a legitimate singles contender. But I think where Jey is going to make his bones, and I don't know if you disagree with me or not, Brett, I think as a singles competitor, I think Jey's going to make his bones owning one of the mid-card titles, IC championship or US champ, and having a long run as that champion. I can see that happening. I can also see Jey and Jimmy Foreman back up and taking the tag belts, one more time. Look, you can tell by the way that the Heyman, Rollins, and also Breaker, that trio was formed. You know, they have their eyes laser locked on Jey Uso. I don't think he's going to lose at the pay-per-view, but I do think Seth Rollins will be the one to take it off his hands.
No, absolutely. A Cena walk-off title would be absolutely dope. Like if they actually went all the way with that. Yeah, I agree. And I think that, Seth, portrayed it beautifully. Like Seth tried to make it seem like he cared about Sami Zayn.
That was hilarious. That was so funny.
Like I think that this is more I think he was just kind of framing it, right? Because I think that his real reasoning behind, this whole thing of getting Sammy to leave or taking him out was they are gunning for Jey Uso's title, and he knows he'd back up Jey Uso in a fight. So right. I think this is a long-term story where they're just trying to eliminate, all of Jay's, help early so they can have that numbers advantage when it comes down to it.
He gave him this whole spiel, though. He goes, look, I don't want anything to happen to you, but if you don't take the out, bad things are going to happen to you. Like he literally threatened him to his face. That's what made it funny. Like, I don't care how you frame it. I don't care what tone of voice you use. You were threatening him, right? And you were trying to threaten him in a way where you're like doing him a favor. And Sami Zayn wasn't going to bounce.
You know what, though? Like, I got to admit, like, to me, he came off kind of stupid, though. Like, you're telling me that I could have bounced and gotten a free title match? Like, yeah, you know what? I'd have been like, yeah, you know what? See ya. Like,
I think a lot of other guys would have took that deal for sure.
Right? Like, hey, would you rather A, get a title match, or B, get speared by Braun Breaker? Like, yeah, give me that title match. And like, listen, I know Def Rebel gets a lot of crap, but like, they definitely did it right, putting that siren at the beginning of Braun Breaker's entrance. Like, there's sometimes you put that iconic like noise at the beginning, and it just makes it that much better. Like, you hear it and you go, "Oh boy, this person's in trouble." Like, when you hear that gong go off or the glass breaking, I love the siren, because when you hear it, you just go, "Oh, so somebody's dying tonight." Okay.
Well, the cool thing about the siren too is, though, years ago, Scott Steiner came down to that. Big Papa Pump came down to a siren, and then you knew, here comes Scott Steiner, somebody was in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this all plays out. Honestly, like I said, I would love it. Like, they were ESPN predicted that Jay versus John at Money in the Bank. I'd just do Seth versus Jay at Money in the Bank and just have Seth take the title off of him there.
I'd rather see that. And look, I don't think that the Seth Rollins faction, he hasn't really officially named it anything, right? But I don't think they're done recruiting. I think they're going to add a couple of more people.
I completely agree. And Carmike says, I think the Stone Cold glass breaking was more scarier. That's fair, but my point was, like, it's always nice to have that like noise at the beginning. When you hear it, you go, "Oh, somebody's like in trouble."
Yeah, I don't know if it was scary, but you knew that a can of whoop ass was coming, right? That was the cool thing about the glass shattering.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm like definitely looking forward to that. If You Smell was also iconic. I completely agree with that. We'll get to Mr. If You Can Smell later. Don't even worry about that. I got to talk about him later. But of course, I kind of also want to touch on this whole Gunther and Pat McAfee storyline.
Yeah.
It's I don't mind the match, Mo, but I don't like where it's headed because I think I know where it's headed, Mo, and I don't like it. We'll start with what do you think about the initial match, Mo, and then I'll let you know where I think it's headed, and we'll see if you like that part. But what do you think about this whole match coming up at Backlash?
Well, it can be somewhat entertaining for a little bit, but come on. Isn't it really only a matter of time before Gunther puts him to sleep? I mean, I'm just saying it's not like they're equals.
Yeah, you know, I think's gonna happen, Mo. I think he's gonna put him to sleep. And after is gonna be what's controversial because I think somebody's gonna make the save, Mo. And if you remember in 2024, somebody said they're coming back for their retirement match. That's right. I think this is leading to Gunther versus Goldberg in Goldberg's retirement match.
Ugh.
And
I hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong too, but I think that this is what this is leading to. I think you're getting the end of Cena's farewell tour is in December, but I think that this is what it's leading to. You're gonna get Gunther versus Goldberg. They already teased the match. Goldberg gets a retirement tour, and the only match they've teased is that. So
Goldberg gets a retiring tour. We led with the fact that John Cena and Randy Orton weren't really big time technical wrestlers. Goldberg might have the emptiest tool chest in all of wrestling. He's not a wrestler. He has like 3 moves, maybe 4 if I stretch it out. And we are talking about Goldberg in his 50s, so every match, what is it going to last? 5-6 minutes?
yeah,
because I'm sure they're going to have him come out and mow down a couple of preliminary guys, and then eventually he'll face a bigger name. But even when he faces a bigger name, he's not going to be in any 20-minute matches. His matches are going to go 10 minutes tops.
yeah. I don't think it's going to be any good. I don't think that it's going to be enjoyable.
And the Gunther disrespect, come on, man.
Yeah,
he deserves better than that. He deserves better than that.
World title reign to wrestling Pat McAfee and Goldberg, but I'll give McAfee credit. Like he can actually go. Like he does very well for somebody who doesn't do it full time. Like I'll give him all the credit in the world.
Respectfully, I'm with you. I think shades of Shane O'Mac, right? Like Shane's not a full time performer, but Shane could go a little bit. Shane could do some crazy things in the ring. So I'll give McAfee that. But even with that, do I think he beats Gunther? No.
But yeah, if they're gonna go this route, I need it to be quick and to the point. I don't need them to get I don't need them to get creative. The last time I saw them try to get creative and go, oh, let's surprise everybody and have a 10-minute Goldberg match. He was wrestling The Undertaker in Saudi Arabia. And I knew that match was going to be a disaster when Goldberg locked in a leg bar. Once that happened, I'm like, oh, we're wrestling. Oh, no. And that is just genuinely one of the worst matches that you'll ever see in your lifetime. So if you are going to book this Goldberg match, don't deviate from the Goldberg formula. Let him hit a spear, maybe a jackhammer. Maybe he goes for another spear. Gunther chokes him out at the end.
Yeah, I'm not so sure I wouldn't rather see Gilbert.
see, Goldberg. Carmike says the Goldberg spear tour, the jackhammer and spear tour, probably what they would call it. Oh, Hardy Boys farewell tour. I'll give the Hardys credit. They're they're moving better than they have in recent years, but the bar kind of was very low in recent years. They're not somebody I want to see on my TV screen every week.
Thank you. Look, honestly, I think they're so far past their prime. I don't think they have a farewell. Like they should have already had a farewell tour. That's how far gone they are. Yeah, I don't want to see them. What do I want to see them for? I don't want to see them.
I love the Hardys. Listen, the show is partially named after the Hardys. That's why I spelled boys with the Z because of the Hardy Boys. But yeah, at the end of the day, they're I wouldn't give them a full like farewell tour. That I don't think that would go over very well. If you want to give them like a retirement match, they've shown that with enough rest and like you give them enough time to prepare for it, I think they could give you one or two more good matches. But yeah, they're not somebody I'd give a full on retirement tour to where they're on TV every week because I think people would just get tired of it real quick.
And who do you want to match them up against? Like, what is the plan to put the Hardy Boys up against the New Day and have them win and go out with another championship or something like that? I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with that because the New Days they're an older tag team as well. But what I don't want is I don't want an extended stay for the Hardy Boys. I've seen them in other federations and sometimes they look like they're still competent and sometimes they look very, very old.
Say, surprised WWE isn't going, oh, no, let's stick with Pat McAfee on this one. I'll give him credit, though. Only one of them are undefeated at WrestleMania, and it isn't Gunther. But, no, I'm glad that they decided to go with McAfee over, Cole. The Michael Cole Jerry Lawler match is some of the worst TV that you'll ever see. So I'm glad they went with Pat for that one. But also, I'm loving it too. Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch for the women's IC title. This year, Becky returns, wins the title at Mania. Tag titles with Lyra. They lose it the next night. Becky just kicks the crap out of Lyra, and then Lyra cuts a fantastic promo on Becky Lynch. I'm really excited for this match. I think it's going to be absolutely terrific.
I think it's going to be a great match. I think Becky Lynch is the fourth member of that faction, and I think she's going to take the belt. I think it's going to be a great match, but Becky Lynch is going to walk out with the title.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think it's honestly, I think getting it on someone like Becky Lynch, I think it would do great on multiple fronts. I think that Lyra Valkyria would be fantastic in a role of just chasing Becky and just kind of building up her character, throughout the chase. And I think Becky would also help add legitimacy to that title, even more than Lyra already has. Like, give Becky like a 6-month reign and then have her drop it back to Lyra or whoever you build up to beat her at like SummerSlam or Survivor Series. Like, I think that at the end of the day, I think the right call right now is for Becky to win the title. And I think that doesn't hurt Lyra at all losing to Becky. And then
I think it elevates her still. That's Becky Lynch she's losing to. That's not like, I don't think that's a step back for Lyra because we both think it's going to be a great match. I think Lyra's young enough because she is very young that she can lose that match and still be elevated by losing. And I love your idea that she kind of chases Becky, that this doesn't go away. And yeah, I do think it's going to be set up to where Becky Lynch has a 5 or 6 month run for sure. And maybe Lyra is the one that has her drop the belt.
Say, to be fair, Pat versus Theory wasn't that good. Listen, compared to Michael Cole versus Jerry Lawler, that was an 8-star classic. Like, I don't know if we can grasp like how bad that match truly was. Like that is one match I never want to see again in my lifetime.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, you do remember even then Jerry Lawler was old as dirt. I mean, he was, you know what I mean? Like, he was old as dirt. I mean, I don't know how that could have been a good match.
Yeah, that between the problem was like Jerry Lawler had a ladder match against The Miz, and The Miz really sold for him, and he actually made Jerry Lawler look pretty decent. So then, apparently they got the idea. You know what? Let's continue to build this rivalry between him and Michael Cole. And you're just kind of like, well, of course he looked decent against The Miz, but Cole? Yeah, absolute disaster all the way around. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think Lyra's going to get a lot of great build here, just working with Becky, and it's going to be fantastic. I think you put Lyra after this, maybe in a different rivalry for a while. I clearly see they're building up Bayley versus Becky when Bayley comes back.
Yeah.
I think you let them two have like a couple month long like blood feud. And then the winner of that, I'd say, probably Becky wins that feud. And then that's when you have Lyra. When Becky's at her hottest, have Lyra swoop in and take the belt off her to maximize the moment.
No, I like that idea. And I like the idea that, yes, you can find another rivalry for Lyra because there is no shortage of up-and-coming stars in the women's division. So she'll have no problems finding another rivalry to keep her busy until she gets back in pursuit of the belt. I want to see how greedy this faction is because I do think they plan on holding the heavyweight belt. They're going to hold the women's championship. And I think at some point they're going to probably go ahead and take the tag team belts. And if Breakker's part of it, you have to assume that Breakker's either going to win back the U.S. belt or the IC championship, or he might even hunt for a bigger title. I'm just saying that Breakker's he's not there to be like Cowboy Bob Orton. He's not just a sidekick. He's trying to win belts too. Yeah,
absolutely. It's funny when it comes to Bayley, I almost wouldn't put her on the Backlash card. I would almost like what I would do, because I had this idea earlier and I just think it'd be a lot of fun to give Bayley the chance to do something like this, is I would start her and Becky like on the Raw after Backlash, and I would almost show like a new aggressive Bayley, at Backlash. Or you know what, you can have her come to Backlash and attack Becky, but man, I would love to see her get the chance to go on a mic and air out her grievances like to the WWE universe. Wrestling history, if you want to look up this promo that I'm referencing, an old announcer by the name of Joey Styles got left off WrestleMania. He got left off the Backlash card, and he got cut this absolutely fantastic promo complaining and yelling about how he got bumped from Backlash. I think you should give Bayley the same chance. Maybe, disrespect her one more time. Don't put her on the Backlash card. Have her come out. Maybe cut like a shoot promo on her getting cut from Backlash. Have her walk away from the company, and then she just jumps Becky sometime down the road, maybe at Backlash, maybe the week after. But I would almost love if they didn't announce her and then just kind of had her quit WWE for a couple weeks and then just ignite her rivalry with Becky at some point.
That's a good idea. That could work too. I mean, there's so many things happening in the women's division. Just the tease that we got of Jay Cargill versus Tiff Stratton, right? I thought, okay, Tiff Stratus versus Jay Cargill, that could be fun, because I do think it's going to be a minute before you get Bianca and Jade, because I think most of us are looking for Bianca and Rhea, and we don't even know how that's going to form out. Like right now, you have this little side issue where Rhea got jumped and Io saved her, and so it's creating an interesting story. But where is Bianca in all this? That's kind of the interesting part in that storyline, because she's kind of been out of the picture a little bit. Do you like the idea of Jay Cargill matching up against Tiff?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know they had a fun little match there on SmackDown, and there was enough there for me to go, yeah, okay, this would be a fun program to run later down the line. So, honestly, I'd rather run Jade versus Tiffany than what we're getting at Backlash. Tiffany versus Nia, I'm just never been a huge Nia person, and just the idea of her versus Tiffany again, to me, that match was interesting because at the end of the day, the cash in. She got cashed in on, but I don't think the chemistry between them. Like I thought it was solid, but maybe this is just like the Nia hater in me talking. But I don't really want to really see her versus Nia again.
It's interesting because I'm kind of where you're at. I feel like there's a role in this storyline, a great role for Nia Jax in this storyline. I don't know how we get there, but I would rather see Nia kind of be with Tiffany, but reverse the roles, where Nia is basically the person that covers Tiff's back. You know what I'm saying? Like her bodyguard, right? The person that kind of helps her keep the belt, if you will, right? Because eventually, to me, the best version of Tiff Stratus is the heel version. She just isn't a natural face. It doesn't really work. I don't know why it doesn't work, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, and the thing with Nia is she's just not an interesting champion to me, right? I think there's a role for her, obviously, as like a monster heel.
Right.
But putting a title on her is like me telling you, hey, it's the year 2005 and the Big Show just won the world title. And you're like, great. Like, there's about 27 people I'd rather see because they just are more interesting and have a better personality, better on the mic, a better moveset. And like I said, it's nothing against Nia. I just kind of, when I watch her, I'm just like, she's not really like my personal like favorite to become a be like champion or really be contending for titles. Because like if she wins it, I'm just like, oh, feud was kind of boring for the last couple months of 2024. So overall, I just really hope that they don't put the title back on her. Like I think she has value, but I don't really like main event scene Nia.
I don't think that they're going to put the title back on her. I think that they're just giving Tiff, this is part of her storyline. Their rivalry, if you want to call it that, is unresolved. It'll get resolved at Backlash. Tiffany Stratus will win the match. And they'll move on from there. I like I said, I think as a monster heel, not necessarily in the role of the person that holds the belt, but in that fixer role a la China, where you help people keep the belt, right? You're kind of in that position. I think there's value there, like for Nia, because she is so big, so powerful, and she's a methodical kind of wrestler. There is a role for her, but I think there's a bigger role if she's part of a faction than as an individual competitor.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Say Damien says I'd love to see Nia join Paul Heyman. Hey,
yeah,
that'd be good.
She would be the person keeping the belt around Becky Lynch's. Yes, that's perfect. There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
No, absolutely. Like enforce her. I'm all for it. I think Backlash is going to be a fun card. But there's one more match. Of course, definitely want to touch on this match real quick because it's controversial. Because a lot of people don't like him. A lot of people also don't like Jey Uso. We're getting Jey Uso versus Logan Paul, and this I see this match getting a lot of hate. I wanted to get your opinion on it, Mo. What do you think about Uso versus Logan?
I think it's going to be an entertaining match. They're both high impact wrestlers. The truth of the matter is, Logan's got a bigger. If we want to, let's do an NBA reference. Logan's got a bigger bag than Jey Uso. Let's keep it a buck, right? He's got a bigger bag. He's a natural, and he's a natural heel. I think it's going to be a terrific match. Probably the kind of match where more time than not, Logan Paul is going to be in control of the match, maybe on the verge of winning, and then I think Jey Uso finds a way to pull it out. But I don't know why people are hating on it. You know what Logan Paul has never done? He's never not entertained me, right? Like if you watch him in the ring, Brett, has he disappointed you? He didn't disappoint me. You might not like him, but he is a natural for professional wrestling. They have different skill sets, but I think they both have big personalities, and I think it will make for a surprisingly entertaining match. Yeah, and I don't think they're going to. I don't think if you're asking me, is he going to drop the belt to Logan Paul? No, because I think that this is a bigger storyline. You brought it up earlier. Seth Rollins is going to take the belt. I don't know when, but he's going to take the belt off of Jey Uso.
You know, I would almost like they would. I would almost laugh if they actually did pull the trigger on it, just because we know it would get like the biggest reaction possible. Like, I can only imagine like the crapshoot it would be if Logan Paul beat Jey Uso for the world title. Like,
it would be insane for sure.
No, absolutely. Said yeet.
That would be interesting, but look, we just had Dom win the belt, and Dom has an insane amount of heat on him. I don't know if there's a big enough universe for Dom to just take a belt and then follow up with Logan Paul having one too. Like, that's kind of crazy. You know what? They're both so annoying, and yet they're talented and entertaining. I feel like they should form a faction.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to throw this. I do want to throw this out there too. We just had a WrestleMania, and that was a lot of fun. We had a watch along. It was actually our most viewed watch along, by the way. So thank you guys very much for tuning in.
Thank you.
I do want to say though, and I'm not going to go into what was said at this certain event, because you can go find that real quick on Twitter if you really want to. But Mo, I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to host this roast of WrestleMania with Tony Hinecliffe over there. I don't understand why they ever thought that was a good idea. And I thought that was pretty terrible. And I think that if I'm WWE, I love the fact they're trying to add events to WrestleMania week. But Mo, I think that they also have to be smarter with the events they're adding to WrestleMania week, because
I'm with you.
We've seen that guy's humor. It's not good. And, we have wrestlers talking smack about their coworkers who aren't even in the same room as them. So, like, that's just going to lead to problems. At the end of the day, I guess I don't understand, Mo, like, why they would even have the roast of WrestleMania and to do it the way that they did it. But I just want to throw it out there. If WWE wants to keep adding these events to WrestleMania weekend, I think it's great. Give the fans more chances to interact with these wrestlers. But also, please be smarter, because I wanted people to just enjoy WrestleMania. But instead of enjoying, WrestleMania, Monday, obviously everybody's upset about Travis Scott. But now then it's like, oh, well, this was set at the roast of WrestleMania because the audio got leaked. So overall, that was just a nightmare of a week for WWE PR. And I think they just got to be smarter. I think they got to just do a little better on what events they're hosting WrestleMania weekend.
I don't think they need a roast. You can find a lot of different events or come up with ideas for different events. The thing about the roast is, in that industry, even though we know it's sports entertainment, that doesn't mean that athletes don't have rivalries, real rivalries or tensions amongst themselves. You go to a roast and you're revealing somebody's personal life in a disrespectful way. It's lowbrow humor. I didn't like it. And from what I heard, it was very personal. And one of the main targets, for whatever reason, was Charlotte Flair. So many people just came for her. I get it. I know she's not the most beloved wrestler in the locker room, but I didn't know she was hated that much.
Yeah, like, at the end of the day, like, here's my problem too with like what they did with like the whole like roast, right? One, if you're going to do a roast, normally a halfway decent roast, you'll roast people in the room. Then they have a chance to clap back or anything of the sorts.
Right.
First off, taking shots at people that aren't even in the same, that's not a roast. That's just you being a dick. Like, and also, like, the problem with doing things like this, though, is like kind of what you said. We're making all these personal jokes about Charlotte, and the problem with trying to do things like that, especially with a lot of these wrestling fans, is they'll also run with it. You're enabling a lot of this negativity and just toxic culture. At the end of the day, I think you're more than privileged to make fun of. If you want to pick on and say what you don't like about Charlotte Flair, you can. You're more than welcome to. But when we criticize these talents, we're criticizing the character, not the person behind the character. And I think a roast and just things like that just for some reason empower people to take shots at the person behind the character. Like, I'll take shots, like, I'll say what I don't like about Charlotte Flair, but I'm not going to, trash talk, Ashley Flair, the person behind the character. By all intents and purposes, I always see her, like, pulling up to take pictures with fans, even if she's in a hurry. She seems really lovely. So I'm really hoping that they avoid it, and that's why I wanted to bring this up, because I also just kind of wanted to talk against this, like, toxic culture, like, and I wanted to say this. It's okay to talk smack about the character, but don't talk smack about the wrestler behind the character or the human being behind the character. Like, keep it to the show, man.
I like that. Look, I agree with you 2,000%. I'm just not big on lowbrow humor. I'm not big on lowbrow humor. And again, the WWE has done so many things right over the course of WrestleMania and the WrestleMania weekend. It's been wonderful, and they have a lot of great events for fans to get involved with and participate in. The roast idea, like you said, if you're going to do it the way that we know it to be done, the right way, where you have people on the dais and they clap at a certain person, and when it's all said and done, the person who's also in the room, they get to clap back at everybody else. That's a roast. Like you said, just attacking people who aren't even there, I don't get that. It was just lowbrow and kind of classless. And I'm sure, look, no company is perfect. I'm sure Triple H and creative and the powers that be are like, okay, we're going to do better. You can tell they were hell bent on cleaning some things up about WrestleMania because of how big the Raw was the following week.
Yeah, and like, it's not even, they roasted people. They were making fun of people that weren't even with the company anymore. Like, they were making jokes about Jinder Mahal. Like, he's been with the company in like 2 years. Like, what are we doing here? But, well, because of course, talking about publicity, I don't know whether to call what happened next positive or negative. Because, let's kick it all the way back. WrestleMania Night 2, Travis Scott interferes, helps Cena win the title. Where's the final boss, Mo? Well, he's gearing up for his appearance on the Pat McAfee show.
Right.
That was interesting, to say the least, because to me, that also was that was awful. We didn't get to talk about this last week because of the draft, but I got to admit, I was not a fan of The Rock showing up on the Pat McAfee show. And
I just didn't like his story. Like, don't try to act like you're being all humble and you're like, look, they called me because, ticket sales weren't good, and that's why he had to make the appearance at the chamber. And I'm like, come on, man. They never have a problem selling tickets. That wasn't it. You interjected yourself and you wanted to be part of the story. And like they said, originally the plan was you wanted to turn Cody heel, and Triple H went the other way, and his idea was a better idea. So suddenly, if you're going to be the final boss and you're going to be the one that makes Cena turn, and if Cody was going to be your champion, Cena is going to be your champion, you have to be part of the storyline to finish it out, and you're AWOL. That just didn't make any sense. That was dumb.
And that's kind of my biggest problem. Like, first off, like, he comes onto the Pat McAfee show. If he wants to do that, God bless him. Like, do whatever you want. But, like, first thing you do, throw Triple H and creative under the bus. I would have done things differently. I'm sure they would have done things differently, too, if you would have showed up to WrestleMania. And that's kind of part of my other issue. He goes, well, I didn't think I needed to. It felt like the final boss's work was done. Like, I wanted it to be about the wrestlers. And to me, I'm just like, are you blind? Like, can you not see? Like, if you wanted to be at the Elimination Chamber to boost tickets, just show up. Go say, hi, welcome to the Elimination Chamber. And we're so happy to see you. Which, mind you, before The Rock even showed up, they already sold 27,000 tickets to this event. It wasn't hurting on ticket sales.
Correct.
But The Rock didn't need to interject himself into the main event to get more people to show up, because there's a lot of people who show up and be like, hey, it's The Rock. I might never get to see The Rock again, so let's go see The Rock. But the way he interjects himself into the main event and then just thinks that, like, oh yeah, my work here is done. Like, no, the way you did that, like, the story called for the payoff to be The Rock to show up.
1,000%.
But it just never came to fruition. And then you come out and you throw Triple H and creative under the bus. Like, that didn't sit right with me. Like, dude, this felt like he didn't like the backlash, so he immediately made sure to hop on the McAfee show to try to spin it, to deflect. So I think it just feels like he couldn't handle the heat, and then he just tried his best to deflect as much of the attention he could away from him.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't believe anything he said, because it doesn't really make any sense to me. Plus, if Cena's your champion, that was the lead up to it, the build up to it. You should have been the one walking down to the ring at WrestleMania, not Travis Scott. Which, by the way, even Rock at his age or where he's at in his career, he still would have made it down the ramp 10 times faster than Travis Scott. That would have made better sense to me. And the move they're trying to pull off to where he helps Cena actually win, it would have looked more believable. You'd have been able to sell it because you're a performer. You know what you're doing. Travis Scott didn't sell it at all. He didn't even sell taking a crossroads well. He was just stiff. That whole section destroyed a surprisingly entertaining match. It really was a good match until he interjected into the match. And again, like I said, had that been Rock, you would have sold it better. It would have made better sense, and it would have played off well, because it would have been part of the story. He made a bad decision, and I think, like you said, he spent a lot of time on Pat McAfee's show doing damage control for himself, not even for the WWE, but for himself.
Yeah, I completely agree. Because, like, to me, like the Travis Scott interference, I think could have been fine, Mo. In all reality, it could have been. But to me, what almost destroyed it was just, a wrestler kind of knows to walk out there with a certain pace, especially if you're doing a run-in on the main event of WrestleMania. You don't want it to be about yourself.
Right.
Like, what if The Undertaker last year, instead of doing what he did where he appeared in the ring, chokeslam, and disappeared, what if he did his full entrance and took like 5 minutes? You would be like, okay, this has just completely ruined the pace of the match.
Right.
And I think that was the bigger problem. Like, Travis Scott just sauntering to the ring, taking his time, and then John Cena taking the time to raise his hand like he just won the match. Like, is this about Cena or is this about Travis Scott? Like, it was just so poorly executed. And
that's my thing. It was poorly executed. Remember, as he's walking to the ring, both wrestlers are watching him walk to the ring. That's so dumb. They're not even competing against each other. They're just watching him walk to the ring. That is dumb.
Yeah, that was still so funny. Like you said, he took the crossroads and then 1, 2, 3, and he's like immediately back up and celebrating. I'm like, what? Like, am I supposed to believe in the crossroads now? Because, like, Travis Scott can pretty much tank it?
Right. That, again, a bad sell. That was my point. Like, God, it just didn't really it got botched. And my complaint is really just how it was executed. You could have sold Travis Scott had he done a better job of selling it and doing his part. He didn't. And like I said, had you sent a performer down, which would have made better sense, it would have played better.
No, absolutely. But yeah. So you got 5 minutes left. I think that was a lot of fun. But we got to talk WrestleMania, WWE, AEW. Next week I'm thinking, Mo, I'm gonna do a little more Backlash predictions. That's coming up next Saturday. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But wanted to take a minute to say, once again, thank you everybody for tuning in. We definitely appreciate it. We're just a couple of guys that like to watch wrestling.
For sure.
Mo, did you want to add anything before we get up on out of here?
I appreciate everybody in the chat for hopping in. Everybody on TikTok as well. We appreciate you guys joining us so much. And again, for everybody that attended and was part of our WrestleMania watch along, that was a huge watch along, our biggest to date. We appreciate you guys for hopping on. Like Brett said, we're just two guys that love wrestling and we love talking about it. So thanks for joining us.
And you can join us on Thursday when we do another watch along. Well, we got one guaranteed game we can do a watch along to. Of course, the Clippers and Nuggets have extended to Game 6. Now, Pistons and Knicks, it's a 6-point game. Pistons are up. It looks like that could be a Game 6. So we'll have a couple different options to do a watch along to. But all I know is we're going to be bringing you guys a watch along to either Clippers and Nuggets or Pistons Knicks on Thursday. So definitely look forward to that. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I definitely appreciate you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night.